So Tash, we were talking about your love for colour. So let's talk about colour theory. Is there any kind of colour theory, colour science that comes into your mind when you think about what should be coloured, what next, you know what I mean, colour contrast and that stuff?
Clashing works.
Yeah.
Like literally everyone says, how do you choose colours? Well, it's always, I let the people that live in the house have the first dibs.
Oh, amazing.
Of course. But like some of them, like just let me choose colour, which is amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, any colour looks good next to any colour. But on the streets, I go as vibrant as I can.
Yeah.
And that's what's got these streets in the headlines because of how vividly painted they are. It's like so daring. Like who paints their house lime green and orange? But you know what? There are places around the world that have inspired me. You know, places like Beaucarp in Cape Town, Burano in Venice. I've been to all these places. Yeah.
Oh,
so it's like colour has always been a massive part of my life. I've always dressed in really vivid colours. I've always worn a flower in my hair.
Have you got any tattoos?
No.
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 I feel like you should have like a colourful tattoo.
No, I don't. Not really into
You're not into tattoos, no?
No. But yeah. So and colour psychologically is just completely key to design, and you know, in build design it should be everywhere. Build environment is too drab at the moment. You know, when you walk around you should feel like you're like Mary Poppins reference again, when they jump into the watercolour. You know, they have the most fun time. It's like amazing. It's a bit like an acid trip. Like, why should you not? Your whole life should feel like this, right? So, you know, we all love that week holiday in Italy, or like going to a festival. That's like the highlight of the year. And people, or like someone's wedding or something like that you're celebrating, and people seem to dress differently for those events, and normally they'll wear something colourful, or they'll put glitter, or they'll put flowers in their hair, or they'll wear like a headdress. Why can't you be like that 365 days of the year?
Yeah, facts.
That is how I live my life. And when I walk around or drive around, I want to feel inspired by the build environment. So it's like I see the city like a massive canvas, like a theatre or a film set, and at the minute a lot of it just needs to be painted to be brought back to life, because what we've got here is already beautiful, but it's just years of neglect and people not loving it, and someone to orchestrate like these big street paints. It takes an individual to do it. It's not going to come from, you know, a few people on a street painting their house. I get the whole street on board. And that is like a mammoth task. And the more houses I get, the better the street looks. So that's the drive.
That's a fact. So one of the things that I love about Hull Park Street specifically, but all of the streets that you've done, well, the Rainbow Square specifically as well, is that you've got like a mural. That's a better word.
Most people say mural.
Yeah, that's what I say.
So many people.
I can't even say it. I'm just going to say it.
Yeah, I've got a terrible GCSEs. So you've always got one of those.
with all your books behind you.
Oh yeah, so, humbly. I try to be humble.
Spell check. Yeah.
And so in terms of like, what inspires you to do that?
What
inspires you to do that kind of memorial?
Oh, the murals. So I don't paint the murals. So that's like, I commission artists to do it. So when you have a look at a street scene, so the rows of Victorian terrace houses, there'll always be a house at the end, and that has a gable wall on it. Now that is just a massive canvas. Normally like, you know, you're talking like 8 by 10 meters. And there's been like a street art scene for years. I mean, it started back in the early hip hop days. And you know, I've been hanging out in Bristol and, you know, all around the world.
Bristol's known for that one. That's
exactly.
Crazy.
Now that's kind of been where I've been hanging out for like the last 25 years. So this has all been quite normal to me. But it's only been in like the last kind of 10 years where commissioning artists in cities has happened. Before it was all illegal. And you know, back in 2002, I actually went to Cheltenham Borough Council because I actually got permission from people's murals on the end of Gable Ends and St Paul's in Cheltenham. And actually went to the council with this. I mean, I must have been absolutely nuts. I was only like 23. And I sat there and I'm like, well, I want to bring like some of this artwork to the side of the buildings. I had some, you know, some of the students from Pittville campus that were up for it. I mean, we hadn't even thought, like, how do you get to the top of that? I mean, it was all like a bit cookie, And I sat with them, and they just, you know, all they could go on about was the fact that Cheltenham was just been tagged really badly, especially by one tag. Well, I knew the person who's tagged that one. So that's quite awkward. Anyway, he's turned out to be like a pretty good artist now. So, you know, it does all happen from there. But what's really wonderful is that each of the projects is evolving. So the Rainbow Street is it's 40 houses from the 52 that are painted bright and vivid colours. No murals on that street. I wanted to do one at the end, but it was just too difficult and I couldn't get permission from the house that I wanted to do it on. The Rainbow Square, amazing. That's like 27 houses linked with 2 massive murals. And then Hopewell Street, even more exciting. So, I now start bringing even more creativity into it. So there's a mural, of course, linked with like 2-tone, stupidly vivid houses on Barton Street. Honestly, I thought I had to drive around a few times and thinking maybe I've made a mistake. I said it'll be fine. They're like my 6 favourite colours as well from the palette. So beautiful. We're trying to name them at the moment. We might call them the Barton Beauties, like the 3 houses. Yeah, I'm doing a leaflet at the moment because I always do a leaflet to accompany the street paint. But what's really cool is that there's like a rainbow staircase. Have you seen that?
Yeah, I've seen that.
So that was all a ripple effect from the project. And then on Barton Street, there's the 3 2-tone colourful doors.
Yeah.
And then, it evolves even more. So, every time I go, there was like this big courtyard. So I met the people that owned it and I was like, could I transform it? And they were like, what are you thinking? I'm like, well, I'll knock up a quick design. So we did a mural there. My other half painted that one. And then I went to Homebase and got like 500 quid's worth of plants donated. Like brilliant. And then made that into like a community garden. And then there's an alleyway, which no one's really seen because it's private, but that was like, now it's like a festival. Yeah. And then I did like a little door installation on Hopewell Street. You've seen that?
The door installation?
Yeah, outside the
car.
shop.
Yeah, those different doors. Yeah. Sorry,
so I've been doing stuff with doors for years. How weird does that sound?
Not doors with holes.
Yeah, so...
I'd say it, sorry.
Back in 2006, I ran my music festival in Tewkesbury. And I needed to decorate a whole festival site.
What was the festival called?
The Seventh Sun Festival.
Okay.
You probably won't have heard of it because it's not really on the internet. But it was all from like the rave scene, sound systems and stuff. But I started using doors to build like bars and stages out of.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so it kind of stemmed from there. And then they started going into all the garden designs for my student houses. So it was really nice to do that as like my first kind of public installation of doors. It's quite wacky and no one really gets it, but it's great to have a photo shoot in front of.
But to be fair, the Hopewell Street, I was literally about to say that. Like the amount of pictures I've taken on Hopewell Street is amazing because there's loads of different backdrops.
Yeah.
And it actually gives like, it feels like you're stepping into like a studio.
Absolutely.
It's
that is
literally
like
a
one of the
backdrop
key things. So like you want the legacy of those streets to be so they're utilised by creatives.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that, film companies haven't picked up on the Rainbow Street and the Rainbow Square. Like there's been no one that have filmed. I mean, it'd make the most amazing aerial shots, for like a B&Q advert.
Yeah.
There was talks, but there were some serious talks actually, but it all kind of fell through. But like literally painting the scenery of what we've already got, turning it into like masterpieces and huge outdoor art galleries.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of people understand that when you go into the more, and I hate using the word, it's just what it's described as the more deprived parts of cities and towns. Quite often those kids aren't ever going to go to an art gallery.
No.
So I'm bringing that art to their doorstep and they're living within a canvas. Yeah. That is really cool and really important to me. Yeah.
Stunning.
A question I wanted to ask, a bit off topic. Have you ever had any backlash off a landlord when they've come out and seen the colour and said, no, I don't like that colour?
Recently we had one about painting a gate.
Yeah.
So they, we were a bit naughty. It's part of the door installation actually, and there was a side gate, and the landlady was, she came around to letting me paint it. It's one of the houses we had to paint grey, because some people I just cannot convince to go for a colour. So it's fine for there to be a couple of grey houses on the street, because there's like 3,000 shades of grey. So she had, she had one that was like quite purpley grey. And then we were there doing the door installation right at the end of the Hopewell Street transformation, because it wasn't essential to do that. It was, it was kind of like the final little stage. And we had all these colourful paints, and we just thought, oh, go on, let's paint the gate really crazy colours. And soon found out the next day, all the old lot from the street were out there photographing it and sending it to the landlady. So I had to just ring up the landlady and say, I'm really sorry. I did take the mickey a bit by doing it, but can we keep it like that until we've had all the press there, people have taken photographs, and then we'll paint it back and I'll colour match your house. And it's quite funny because I was on GB News on Sunday and they came and filmed me on Tuesday maybe, And it's funny because that actually got into the footage, the gate, before it was painted back to grey. So we've got it on record. Yeah. But no, the most landlords are really good. Like, they're quite happy that they're getting their houses painted for nothing. Yeah. But there are a few that don't let me paint the house, and that's owners and landlords, and that's a real shame. Because they stick out like a sore thumb.
Yeah, they do.
We've got quite a few on the Rainbow Street and St Mark's Street that weren't painted, and you know, some people are saying, oh, you know, the street's starting to look run down. It's like, well, that's the houses that aren't painted. Or people will sell their house quite soon after I paint them because it has proven to increase the house price.
I was going to ask that question.
Yeah, which is, you know, what, it's annoying because people think that I've done it for that, and I so haven't. And they've put that in all the media stories for Hopewell Street, and there was nothing written about that in what I released as a press release. They were using past information from stories, but you know, they have to use an angle, the press, like it's just how it works.
They have to sell.
Yeah, that's it. So a few of them have put their houses up for sale, and then the people that have bought them have done work on them and then like not repainted them. So, it's like, so it kind of looks like, you know, that's my fault, and it's like, oh no, it's not.
No, but to some extent, obviously, if they're the rentals, if the house prices are going up, then it's a positive. But in the sense of that's not a desire for you. That's a what's the word? That's just a ramification. That's the ripple effects of doing something that's great. Yeah,
no, for sure. You know, of course, it increases your house prices. It's increasing the desirability of the street. It's just, that is just what happens. But I'm very aware of that. And one of the things that I'm also really aware of is gentrification. So, you know, last thing I want to do is go into an area and like make it so good that, you know, all the people that live there can't afford to live there anymore. So, you know, I'm totally aware. I know the market. I know exactly what's going on in particularly places like Barton and Treadworth, and I don't think that that's going to be an issue there. I mean, I've seen it happen in St Paul's in Bristol. Like, it's a very different scene there from what it was 20 years ago. Yeah. But, you know, it still looks pretty rough. The street. But you know what? People quite like it. It's all part of that culture. I'm really excited to see what the ripple effects of not just your journey and what you do is the ripple effects that it has on other people and their journeys and where it comes from as well. Because I think bringing hope is one thing as well, and seeing you take the action to do things is going to make other people take actions, and I really want to see what that looks like for other people as well. No, for sure. It's like a basic kind of principle that when people can see that they're being invested in, not financially, but you know, my heart and soul goes into these projects. I literally become the street mother. You know, I know every single person on that street. It's like the most magical thing because I love people and I want to make people's lives happy. And you know, you come across as quite magical. You see the Hopewell Street. Wow, it's like we started from one end, Barton Street, and we made a rainbow. Down to Rycross Street, it was just like, this is insane. And you know, at the start, everyone's like, oh, what colours are you going to have? What colours you have? I'm like, don't choose your colours. Like, well, wait, we're going to build this rainbow, and then by the time we get to you, it's going to be obvious what colour you want. But yeah, as soon as you put the pinks and purples, the kids are just like, I want that one, I want that one. If you left it to the kids, the streets would be pink and purple.
Just the whole picture.
And it's like, there are loads of other colours. So that's when you have to like hold the hand, do the like, you know, colour consultation. You know, in the background, the landlords, you know, probably doesn't even know. But I always say to the landlord, please let your tenant choose the colour of their house. That's really important. And most of them are okay with that. And you know what? Those tenants will probably stay longer because they now love the living. You should see the responses we get of people on Hopewell Street. They are so happy, and loads of families and kids. We spoke about during some of the things that happened about community. So one of the things that happened during COVID was that a lot of people would come out and hit their pans and stuff like that. And that was one of the first times I actually said hello to my neighbours from across the street. And I'm assuming, and that's the kind of things that's happening in Hopewell Street, there's a reason for a community to be built. Whereas previously there necessarily wasn't one. Even though we were close together, it's like... Absolutely. Like, why did it take for COVID for people to come out? You know, we need to take a lesson from like our elders, because they were all totally interlinked with their streets and had the most wonderful communities. 100%. And you know what? I know for a fact that if you get on with the people on your street, it's actually really wonderful to live on a street. And you know, if I can be that person that unites the community, and I do, like I work really hard at that actually. Yeah. It's been really cool on Hopewell Street because there's quite a lot of older people, and some of them have never met each other. Yeah. And I'm like, how comes you've not met him? And how comes you've not met them? Let me introduce you.
Hey.
And because we had that common, because we were like creating this, you know, amazing new look Hopewell Street. Yeah. There was, like you said, there was a common reason for everyone to unite. Yeah. And I don't want to let that magic go. So yeah, you just ask anyone on that street. I mean, I'm there all the time. Yeah. You know, it's really important that I continue to do that. And what's really lovely is that on this project we've had the One Show following us.
Okay.
So yeah, so the One Show did 2 full days filming, and then obviously we've had loads of journalists, and you know it's been quite insane. Yeah. But what I do when they come on the street is that they want to speak to residents, and I don't go and set that conversation up. I ask permission, but then I stand right back because I don't want them to feel like they've got to say something. Yeah. And you know, sometimes I'd have a little bit of an earwig and wow, like what people have been saying. I mean, that is why I do it. Yeah.
Stunning. Absolutely amazing. Can I ask a question? Because you're doing this in Gloucester. Yeah. It's all about how some of the county council that gave you some funding. Yeah. What has been the response from council, Gloucester City Council in general?
Nothing. Haven't heard from them at all. Haven't even had like a well done from them, which is like insane. The county councillor, so the one from Barton and Treadworth, he's been absolutely amazing. But you know, councillors they're not employed by the council. So like, but I would have been nice for some like council officers to maybe have sent like a well done. I don't know. I just think everyone needs to unite a lot more. Yeah, I mean, if someone's done something good, then like speak out about it. Yeah. But no, there's nothing that I would have loved more from the city council to have been massively more part of my projects. In fact, when I did the Rainbow Street, I was actually, because people like really don't like the council, right? So I'm all about changing mindsets, because I just don't, you know, a lot of people judge a book by its cover, a lot of people are wrong on their, you know, understanding, and I wanted nothing more than to stand up and say, this council's been amazing, they're so supportive, but it's got nowhere. I've even had like, I've been told, I've had warnings from the council. Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
What do you think the barriers are? What do you think there's?
I think that there's just a total disconnect. Okay. You know what? And you just can't, as a creative, which a lot of people are calling me now, like you will just come across so many barriers if you go down certain routes, because a lot of us think when we do projects that we need to include certain authorities, and we need to try and, you know, maybe get funding from certain things, and a lot of the time you're just totally off point. So everyone that I've met that's tried to do anything in this city have all come across a brick wall, and that's normally because of the council or, you know, other avenues to those means. And I'm really lucky in the fact that I've done all this as an individual, because I didn't want to wait around. You know, these streets would never have happened if I had waited for council or waited for funding. I just went and did it. And that's why I've got this, you know, really cool portfolio of work now, proven track record, that I can literally change the perception of an area and the lives of the people living in that area. So like, what's not to back, really?
No, I love that, because I think the conversations that I've had with anything that I want to do with in relation to the council is that because of the council's guidances, they've got to do things by the letter of the law, or principles, policies that they've written themselves, or they may be even outdated, that they can't support in certain areas, and that's a big barrier. I would encourage, I don't know if you would maybe say the thing is, people to get involved in the council and maybe be different kind of councillors, as well as. But because in terms of like you as an individual coming across you're passionate, you're a doer, and those things are incredible. And in my head I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great if you were in a position, or someone who had a heart like you was in a bigger position that can maybe do things? Am I just
change within?
Yeah. Am I naive? Am I naive?
Yeah, I think a little bit naive, but I don't blame you for saying that. So a lot of people would think that, you know, the next route for me would to become part of the council, or to become a councillor.
Mayor maybe?
No. You have to be a councillor to be a mayor.
Oh, damn it.
Not the Mayor of Barton though. That's a different one. That's apolitical. But
Okay.
anyway, that's another thing. And I love it. Barton and Treadworth. You know, Barton and Treadworth wasn't even part of Gloucester until 1827.
Yeah, I thought everyone knew that.
I don't know that.
That's why it's got its own high street. And that's why it has this mock mayor, which, you know, is quite fun because it's not linked to anything political.
That
makes sense.
Yeah, bit of history. Yeah.
Gloucester.
But no,
I
so
didn't know
the
that.
idea of, like maybe I should go into the council. I mean, you know, of course. But you know what? The word bureaucracy comes in. So, you know, anyone that I know that's tried to do something like that has just come across this, like, it takes 6 months to send, like, you know, to get anything done.
Yeah.
Whereas I just go
That's a
and do
fact.
it.
Yeah.
And what's wonderful about what I'm doing is I don't need any permissions because I do it all in, so I don't need any permissions from the council because I do it all in non-conservation areas. All I need is permissions from the owners and the residents and the tenants and the backing from the community. And then it's all happy. And you know what? I'm not restricted to anything that I do now. And how long do you think I'd last in a council? I mean, I'd just be fired.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Just like, I don't
Do it anyway.
but just the way that I talk, it's just like, it's just not PC at all.
that's
You know, it's passionate, it's individual. I don't have to conform.
Yeah.
And that's why it works.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Stunning. Dope. So it's Pride Month. Pride Month rainbow. Any correlation?
Not necessarily, but you know, I've kind of been part of that scene for years and years.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that it's getting so much recognition. Like with the Pride, I'm thinking Cheltenham started somewhere now.
Oh,
Gloucester
dope.
had one.
Dope.
But you know, and still no gay bars in the whole of Gloucestershire. I've spent most of my life in gay bars. Yeah. But and I'm really fortunate, like me and my other half, we're straight, but I'm
Yeah.
lucky that I'm with a guy that's really comfortable around gay guys. So, you know, they're like some of the best clubs I've ever been to. I know loads of drag queens.
Okay.
You know, but it's quite funny. I thought that more people would link the rainbow houses to that scene, but it doesn't really get
Does it
linked
not?
that much, no.
I think for me, it's probably in the community it's in.
Yeah.
I think because it's in that community, it's in the Barton and
Yeah.
Treadworth area, it's on Holdbar Street.
But it's
Yeah.
not linked.
Yeah, that
Okay,
I wouldn't, when I seen it, I
Yeah,
didn't
no, not
associate
at
it
all.
with
Yeah, there's
that
been
scene. I didn't associate it with that.
There's been hardly any references. And
Yeah.
when we did the Rainbow Street in lockdown 1, obviously the whole NHS thing was rainbow, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, fact.
Okay.
So I remember someone saying, "Were you doing it for that reason?" I'm like, "No, I just want to make a Rainbow Street." and I'm really clever in the fact that I won't link myself to anything like that.
Okay.
So I won't link myself with the NHS. Loads of people said, "Why don't you paint a house in Ukraine colours?" No, I don't want my streets linked to like a
No,
war.
okay, that's
You know,
fine.
it's kind of my prerogative what route I go down.
Yeah.
But no, it's just rainbow because you know it just looks amazing.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Dope. No, it's amazing.
That
Someone
is.
actually did ask on some Facebook group, are the houses now identifying with themselves better? So I put on there, not sure, but I'll knock on number 6 tomorrow and ask.
You have to, people have to ask.
Yeah,
You have to
for
ask,
sure.
innit? You
I
have to
thought it was
ask.
quite amusing.
One thing I did want to go back to was you said you commission artists to do I can't say the word.
Murals.
That word.
Yeah.
Is there like a process you go through, or is it people you already know, or could people apply to?
Yeah, no, so at the moment I haven't had people applying. I've seeked out like who I think would suit. You've got to be really careful what you put on these walls, right?
Yeah,
You can't put stuff that is offensive.
Yeah.
You've got to have an artist that's within budget, available, has got a portfolio of work, someone that potentially you're getting at the start of their career. I mean,
Okay,
I'd like
yeah.
nothing more than to have more local artists in there, but at the moment my projects have been literally in the planning, like Hopewell Street. I only knew I was properly going to do it like a month and a half before I did it. And I actually had an artist in mind, but by the time I could say yay, she was booked up for the summer.
Okay.
And the Hopewell Street mural, you know, I love plants, I love flowers. To have the word Hopewell Street in it was pretty good. I mean, it's not anything like standout unique, but it's clever because it's non-defensive. It looks really like highly impactful with the flower popping out the side.
Yeah.
Same as the Rainbow Square one. So that was an artist called Zoe Power in Bristol, and up until now I've only chosen female artists,
Yeah, shout out
which
to
I
that.
think's like pretty cool. Obviously that's not going to stop me from having male artists,
Yeah.
but you know I kind of wanted to do that for female artists. So
Definitely.
that's something that I'm pretty passionate about, and they've really come into the forefront of the scene now, whereas before it was completely dominated by male
Yeah.
street
Yeah.
artists. And a lot of them paint by hand, they don't use spray cans, so these take ages. And we have to prep the walls before, so that's like another week before they arrive. But yeah, so the one on the Rainbow Square was a really nice story actually, because I did have an artist and he wasn't coming up with what I kind of wanted, so I had to ditch him. I remember I was abroad. It was really awkward. I'm just like, nah, sorry, it's not working out. And then I just found this girl, she's from Bristol. She did like for Upfest, they had 5 girls paint buildings either side, and she was my favourite one, so I Instagrammed her and it was there. And then I said, right, send me over some ideas. And she's quite well known for painting quite large figurative women. Like quite Picasso, like cubist. And so she sent me 3 ideas over.
I'm up for that.
One of them just looked like me. And I'm like, oh, how pretentious would that be? It's like I've commissioned her to paint me on the city centre of Gloucester. So like, we can't have that one. It was playing like a guitar. And I'm like, yeah, well, I would never have played that. It would have been an accordion. And the other one was 2 women like kind of mirrored, and I just thought, you know, that's just too much scope for someone to put like a naughty thing between them. So that can't work. And the third one was these contortionists, which is what the mural is. And it's funny because one of my favourite people that I met on Hopewell Street, her daughter is part of the circus and used to do contortionist acts. So I'm just like that's crazy. So that's how we chose that. But also really clever that we, you know, titled it, so it's got the Rainbow Square, you know, so no one needs to rename it. That was suggested by some people quite high up that they should do it, but I absolutely declined that offer because that's not how I roll. And at the bottom to have the word Gloucester. So when you organise these projects, you've got to think how they're going to look in pictures. So these projects go worldwide. So Hopewell Street has now gone global. It was bought by a American media company, The Story, a few days ago. And now Australia's starting to ring me up to go on breakfast shows, etc. So you need to understand how to get Gloucester on that map. That is my aim, is to get Gloucester on the arts and cultural map, right? Gloucester's known for like great things, but it's also known for some really crap things. And it's about time that everyone just like, that's the past. Now we need to make the city shine. And the way that you make those pictures go really far is that you choose really good artists. And the image that you put on it's really smart. And what's really nice about the Rainbow Square mural is at the bottom it's got the word Gloucester. And the word Gloucester is actually, the lettering is taken from the old pub, the old Robin Hood Inn pub on Hopewell Street.
Oh, wow.
So we copied the letters from that pub, because back then I was still, sorting out that street. And I thought, what lettering am I going to use? Oh, I know of somewhere. There's this street that I'm fixing at the minute. So there you go, there's the link.
The connection.
Do you know what's crazy?
Mind games. I love it.
Or as just someone in the community. You drive and you don't realise what goes behind.
Oh, absolutely.
So when I seen it, because I used to work just by GR1, so when I seen it, I just thought, oh, people's painted. I didn't think nothing of it. Just because I seen it, oh, that looks nice, and you kind of keep it moving, and
that's it.
But you don't know everything that goes behind. So it's good for people to know what's gone behind all it. It's not just paint.
No, not at all. And you know what? You know what? How that started? That building. I got my friends to buy that building. 4 years ago. I was chatting to the people that lived there and they were considering selling, and I knew someone that wanted to buy a house, so I got my mates to buy it so I could get the permission to paint the mural on the side of it.
That's amazing.
We've done it on this latest project. We had to get someone to buy a flat and a shop so we could paint it.
It's about having powerful people
but that is all the planning that goes into
That's amazing.
See, you would never, I would have never guessed that.
So much work goes into these projects. It's like insane. All year I'm on it. My other half's cursing me because I just don't have a social life at the moment.
I love that story. If that person who did buy that shop and office needs a rental person, like I would love an office space. I do need an office space.
It's the Barton Street ones, the old Bob Tattooist. That's been shut for years and years and years. And you know what would be. So when you apply for funding, right, it's all a bit new to me because it's the first time I've ever received funding. Right, so they want to, obviously Gloucestershire County Council are well happy with me. Because I've got international press. Anyone else that's got this funding, I haven't heard of any of the other projects yet, but I'm kind of like shining a light for them as well. Thanks. And they always ask about what impact will it have? Well, first of all, it's just changing people's lives that live on the street, the perception of the city. you know, I'd love to turn Barton and Treadworth into the arts and cultural quarter of Gloucester. Why has no one done that already? It's already the cultural part.
It makes a lot of sense.
Let's bung in the art bit.
Yeah,
you know, and then you've got the title, Arts and Cultural Quarter. This is all marketing savvy moves for a city. But what would be the most amazing impact is if that shop that's been bought gets turned into a really cool shop, because it's been shut for 30 years. And that's what I'm hoping.
I always used to go past that shop wondering,
and there's loads of empty shops on Barton Street, loads of empty shops on High Street. You know, let's see what these effects have. Let's hope that it just, you know, brings it all back to even go into town. Because you could buy everything on High Street.
No, it would be amazing.
That would be glorious, mate. That would be glorious. That would be glorious.
I did put that actually as one of my stories, but they didn't use it.
Okay. So when you turn to talk about impact for when you sent your application form in, did you actually put like international press?
Yeah.
As impact?
Yeah, and One Show's following me.
Yeah.
No, I didn't actually. I didn't know the One Show was going to follow me.
Yeah.
But I actually sent another email saying, the One Show is going to follow this one.
Oh yeah, it's like updated.
I don't even think they got that. To be honest, like they haven't got a clue how to run the marketing side of things. In fact, they've even asked me for a lesson.
That's a fact. Yeah.
And I'm all self-taught. Do you know what I mean? I didn't know how to do any of this, but I'm really cunning how I write a lot of my stories. You know, normally I'll submit my own photographs. Yeah. So that's how it all kind of rolls. Yeah. So that's again another huge part of the project that runs behind the scenes of what you're seeing happening on the street. Yeah.
Stunning.
Amazing.
Stunning.
It's amazing.
Tasha, if anyone wanted to get hold of you, kind of support you on social media, things like that, how can they get hold of you?
So they can contact me on Instagram, which is Tash Frootko, TashFrootko, or Twitter, it's like @Frootko Tash, capital F, capital T. I'm always best though if you contact me that way, because I'm a little bit rubbish on social media, but I keep missing messages. I missed one from the Huffington Post.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah, I had to ring my mate up. I'm like, are they bigger than the Guardian? She went, that was for the Rainbow Street. Hadn't even seen it. It went into Instagram messages. I don't even look at it.
Have you replied now?
Yeah, but I was 8 days late, and they said, we're really sorry, we've run with another story now.
Oh, jeez.
But they're pretty big, aren't they?
You need a marketing communications department.
I had the same like Heart Radio. So again, Rainbow Street, Heart Radio, Facebook messaged me.
Yeah.
Didn't even have Messenger on my smartphone. I've only just got it on there actually.
Oh my god.
It's crazy how you can be contacted through social media.
Yeah. But as soon as I see the message, then I'll always give over my mobile if they're like not weirdos. Not that you know that. Or my email address, because you don't want to like clutter up your mind with all this stuff.
Yeah, of course.
You know?
And like you said, you got a passion for what you're doing specifically, and it's not necessarily that you're doing it to get.
Not at all. Oh my goodness! Like I would have loved to have done it totally under the radar, so no one knew it was me. Yeah. Honestly, last thing, and I've just got to be careful because it has got a little bit out of control. This one with the media, and everyone's like, "How are you coping?" I'm like, "Yeah, all right." You know, it's like I'm talking about like my own baby, right? It's like I'm passionate about it. It's not like I need to be told what to say. Like it's all my work.
Yeah.
So it's like it's wonderful to talk about it, and the more I can get that message across, like you said before, it's going to inspire more people.
100%.
Hopefully inspire like developers and stuff, because some of those, what they're building is just soulless. I mean, you drive past these new developments and they're putting like fake chimneys on them to try and give them some sort of personality.
Some kind of life.
No,
this is great. I think in like 10 years time, Netflix is going to do like a fake documentary on your life. So who's going to play you? Tell me a character that's going to play you.
But you know what, I've turned down Channel 4.
What?
Yeah, they contacted me. Like, they all have production companies.
Yeah.
And they wanted in on me and like documentary, follow me, and I just no.
No.
Nah.
Okay.
That's like invasion of my life.
Oh, that's a fact.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? At the moment, I can control it, so I devote like the month of May, and it's funny because, you know, now it's like what we now. 10th
June.
Something of June.
12th,
I don't even know what the date is.
12th
of June. So now I've got to slip back into my actual job. Like, I'm a landlady. A lot of my students are about to start moving out. So, you know, I've got to make sure that that's all going all right. But May is a really good month because traditionally It's like quite good weather, May. Not a lot of people realise that. Everyone thinks July and August. No, mate, they rain. It rains a lot. And I know that because I used to run my music festival in August. And it just ruined the whole of my summer. So I've always said, like, the month of May is when I'll devote, like, transforming the city, and then there's a few weeks after, like, the repercussions with the press. But next year's project is going to be like, it's just it's like, it's just massive scale. So I don't know how I'm going to cope with that, but we'll probably just start it in March. So I'm going to have like a couple of months before, and then probably like lose the plot around like at the end of each of the months, because it does take a lot out of you.
I bet it does.
You know, it's loads, like having to keep a whole team of painters on side, you know, because it's really physical. You know, everyone's having to work out the psychology of the street. People are having to like talk on cameras for the first time. You know, it's a lot to ask of people. I take it all very much in my stride, but I totally appreciate that others can't do that. And it can really like mess up people. You know, Rainbow Street went through 9 different painters.
Oh wow.
So is one painter painting every house, or do you have
No. On Hopewell Street we had 4 painters in total. And a lot of people can't commit to that amount of time. Plus also when it rains you can't paint. So like really you've got to find someone. We had some wonderful painters on Hopewell Street, all local to Gloucester, and that's really important to keep everything as local as I can. The only thing that I'm not keeping local at the moment are those big murals, and that's because I've not found anyone yet in the city that, you know, can either do what sort of artwork I need or available. So but that's something that I hope to bring in when I get more canvases, and High Street will hopefully allow that.
Definitely. Right, there's just one question I did want to ask.
Go on.
You spoke about being around Bristol. You speak about street art. Do you know Banksy? Ooh, are we getting an exclusive?
Well, I know people from Massive Attack.
Okay, that's good.
It's all linked.
Oh, is it? She's not going to tell us his real name.
And Nana Cherry.
Oh, okay. You went into that. And you spoke about the festival scene. I know it's all linked through research. I've seen it's all linked.
No, it's all linked.
There is all linked.
She's not going to tell us Banksy's real name.
No.
Is there a possibility?
Is it just one person?
Yes, there we go.
Good questions.
Is there a possibility we may see a Banksy spring up?
Oh, you know, it was quite funny you should say that, actually, because
there's a Cheltenham.
Well, no, he's got a good mate called Inky, and I met Inky in like a nightclub. I think Sasha was playing. And I couldn't understand why people were coming up and asking him to sign like their coats and stuff. Anyway, we ended up like going to a party and stuff, and he's really good friends with that whole collective of people. And I actually, on the Rainbow Street, I painted one of the houses in like his favourite colour, which is like an indigo colour. And I think I sent him a little message. I thought maybe he could come and do something on the door. But you know what he did? Like completely reverse. He went, "No, it's nothing near. It's all over Bristol." They got a colourful house in Bristol. I was like, "Oh, thanks, mate."
Well, it was worth a shot.
There's no individual painting entire streets. I'm the only person in the world doing this. There were some wonderful, like 2 Dutch guys that used to go into favelas in Brazil. You should have a look. It's like the Favela Painting Project. Again, like massive inspiration to me. And they went to these places. You know, that's like next level. That's like gangland, right? And like cartels and stuff. And they went in and they just started painting. You should Google it. It's amazing. I think they did a TED talk as well. But I think it probably just burnt them out because they didn't really do much after it. Plus it's like no money in it. So
incredible. All right, let's before we settle down, let's tell me something neutral, non-color related. So do you watch movies?
I used to go to the cinema a lot, but I haven't really much recently.
You haven't got a favourite movie? Okay. What about a favourite artist? Singing musical artist?
Oh no, you should always turn your phone off.
What song is that?
Loves me.
What song is that?
Huh?
What song is that?
That's an old Nokia.
Oh, that's just the...
That's from my old Nokia phone.
Oh, it's just a normal tone.
No, I thought it was special, I thought you were going to say someone from Bristol.
No.
Like an artist from Bristol, okay.
Oh. No, that was my other half ringing.
Okay, cool.
You said you'd only be half an hour?
Yeah. He's like, we'll go for dinner after. Would be nice. Treat you out for some nice dinner. What were you asking?
So tell me something.
Favourite artist?
Favourite artist, yeah.
Well, there's like loads, but I'll link it to the streets.
Yeah, go for it.
So There's this French artist called Yves Klein. He's no longer around. And he is one of the only artists that actually invented his own paint colour.
Oh, wow.
And it's called like Ultra Blue, and you'll see it because I've painted number 11 Nettleton Road in that colour. And you can only get it from like a film company because they paint like film sets in it. And it's like it's a bit like that blue actually. But you can't get it mixed up because it's got, like this colour, it's got too high pigmentation in it. Yeah. So I painted 11 Nettleton Road on the Rainbow Square, and then what was quite insane, on Station Road, there's like a little wreath above one of the houses, and we couldn't find out why it was there. Yeah. But Yves Klein used to paint all of his work in his paint. So I decided to create our own piece of Yves Klein artwork and paint the wreath on Station Road. So anyone that knows their art and Yves Klein will be like, oh look, she's got a piece of Yves Klein in the city. Wow. So that's pretty cool. Yeah.
That was pretty dope. It's been good. It's been a really interesting conversation, Tash. I'm inspired. I
talk a lot.
No, I like it. That's good.
I think you had a lot of good stuff to say.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. I think a lot of people when seeing this are gonna hear a little bit more of your story, and I think they're gonna be encouraged by it. Hopefully inspired as well.
Yeah, hopefully.
And,
I really do think that it will catapult a lot of things to happen. Because like you said, a lot of people have talked about a lot of stuff in the city for a long time. Yeah. And I see that there's loads of talent and ability here. Yeah. I think it just needed someone to like massively kickstart it. Yeah. But I've also never understood why, from being like a proper party girl. Yeah. I've spent loads of time, like, I don't think I've missed a St Paul's Carnival for like 22 years, even though it's only been 3 in the last 8 years.
Talk to me.
1st of July, I'm definitely there. Yeah. But, and then there's Notting Hill Carnival. But why is there not a Jamaican-style carnival that rivals those? Like, why is there not a Tredworth Carnival?
So there is.
Where's the High Street
Carnival?
Yeah.
There is a High Street
Yeah,
Carnival.
I went to it last year.
But it's not nowhere near.
Yeah, but why? Could be, couldn't it?
I think we're waiting for you, Tash.
Exactly. Yeah.
So why do you think I'm painting the scenery next year? So I've been chatting to the organisers.
Come on.
Might need to get like maybe more than 3 sound systems. You've got the side streets as well. Yeah. And quite nice yard on Brook Street that I could get our hands on. I've already got my eyes on it. It's like a big festival. But it's it's run on a Sunday night and it finishes at 7. So there's just been a lot of like police and licensing blocking down on that. But as a festival organiser, if you just write all your T's and C's in your operational report and you've got someone like with proper knowledge, I mean that could get much bigger. And then look at that draw for Tredworth. Yeah. Hello.
Come on.
But it needs 10,000 people.
Yeah, definitely.
St Paul's has been a victim of its own success. It got too big, that's why it shut down.
Yeah.
Because that was like crowd crushing. It's like 110,000. But it was really simple. They just made the site bigger, so it goes around a much bigger area now, with far less sound systems on each street.
Just battle each other, didn't they?
Yeah, right.
Sound systems. I love that.
Yeah.
This is dope.
So that's things to look forward to.
Yeah.
That's definitely things to look forward to. Maybe we will be rivaling St Paul's. Imagine that in Gloucester.
Yeah, why not? It's just a big why not for everything.
Yeah, no.
I remember going down to St Paul's Carnival and chatting to some people, and I'm like, where are you from? We're from Gloucester. And I'm like, what, is that your sound system? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, so how comes I've never been to a party in Gloucester?
We're not allowed.
Yeah, exactly. But you are allowed until they've got reason to say otherwise.
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah.
Non-stopping us.
Yeah.
If you're watching this,
you can't stop us.
You're interested.
You just got to get Brian G to headline it, right? On a big stage.
Yeah.
Hello. There you go. There's your marketing and promotion. Yeah.
I like the idea.
Yeah.
The motors and the wheels turning. Yeah, the wheels turning.
But I don't want to get back into organising parties. That's like I've done that bit.
Yeah.
But I'll paint the scenery for it. Imagine that. Yeah. We'll see.
I like it.
Right. Thank you very much for coming
pleasure.
by.
Really appreciate
giving us your time. We can see your time's precious. And you've come to the little old broken generation.
Oh, it's been wicked. Thank you for having me.
Apologies about the heat. Everyone's in here just
Yeah.
I've got the fan on. But no, thank you very much.
No more to say. I just want everyone to support everything you're doing.
Oh, thank you.
Be inspired and do stuff for themselves. That's all I say, man. I appreciate it.
Thank
you very much.